Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha. I hope this video finds you well, and I appreciate everybody that shows up tonight for the live stream chat and everybody who watches after the broadcast. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. So anyway, we've got the media circling the wagons and attempting to discredit the information that's being put out, even though many of us have known it for a long time. And we had Mark Wayne Mullen come out, and on a redemption arc, we shall see. We shall see. We'll talk about that. But he is pledging to figuratively flip over every rock and look at every voter registration that is suspect. And we'll get into that and a lot of other things. But what do? I play videos while people come in and settle in, get themselves a cup of coffee or a nice cold brouhaha or an adult beverage of their choice, whatever is your want. And then, I know it's corny, but I say it anyway. We'll be like butter and get on roll.
Dust on my Bible, flags on the line. You laughed at our warnings, called truth a crime. You sold us your secrets, wrapped up like hope. Signed all our futures with a poison note. You sat in your mansions, we prayed in the rain. You cast every favor on a ledger of pain. You thought you were covered, names on a list, private plain pages you swore don't exist. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. Game over. You thought she was certain, thought he was too. Shook hands in the back room, said they'll never break through. You mocked every farmer, every steel-toed boo. Called them crazy and bitter while you buried the proof. Now screens start flashing, whole names, young kids, whole world scrolling through the things y'all did. Digital soldiers from the cornfields to Rome say leave our children alone or we're taking you home. Let's go! Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. Game over. From the back roads to the big tall towers, patriots worldwide, this the final hour. You can beg, you can bargain, you can scream, you can hide, but the book's been written and your name's inside. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. Nothing's gonna stop what's already signed. Game over.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined. Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh, we got 3 pictures of Mr. T up there on the screen. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I've been putting that 9/11 picture up quite a bit lately, and it's going to stay there to keep in the back of people's minds. Something else that's going to pop up along with a lot of other things. Hi, Tammy. How you doing with the younger gang? Thank you for stopping by. Buy me a coffee. Sissy, nice to see you. Robin, you also. We got a coffee gang coming in. Ha, ha, ha. Todd's here. Sherry's here. Wayne's here. Give me a thumbs up. Another one of the coffee crowd. Let's see. Elva's here. Nice to see you. All right. Let's see, Rebecca's here. Nice to see you, Robert. All right, let's see. We got a lot of people rolling in tonight. Aren't they squirming? Gary dropped a Moab. Whoa, I got to, wait a second. I had to buy me a coffee. I got to get my special effects going. Big booms for Gary going by buy me a coffee and dropping a Moab along with Miss Menders, who does that too. Flannel Cheese, nice to see you. All right. MS Motorsports, nice to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Brush is here. All right, let me see. Kim, nice to see you, Kim. And let's see if we got some friends we hadn't seen in a while might pop in. I don't know. You never know. Pappy Two Bears also stopped by me a coffee that started off the week. Whoa, where'd my chats go? Come on back. There they are. Oh, man, don't tell me I'm already. No, here I am. All right, there we go. Pappy Two Bears. All right. Brett, nice to see you. And all my lurkers out there, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining all of us. I have clips of Donald J. Trump's address. We're going to go over those and do our own analysis. And to bolster, follow up Trump's address, we had Mark Wayne Mullen come out and gave an unequivocal description of what is going to happen, what is in motion right now with the Department of Homeland Security and election integrity. And we've got well over 500 FBI agents dispatched, over 260 in Georgia alone, which today was their supposed I'm using air quotes, deadline. So we're going to see what pops up out of that. I think we're taking a national pulse as far as the reaction to what happened with Donald Trump's address. And yes, CBS did cover it. And yes, ABC and NBC did not. Along with, now those are networks. They are different from cable. Different standards with FCC regulations. So ABC and NBC might be looking at getting their plug pulled. Well, their license pulled. And I think we're moving inexorably because once again, we have more judges fiddling with the process and attempting to stymie the Trump administration from enforcing the law in so many different areas. Everything you can think of. Like I said, with the communists, they don't have to have every single person connected. They just have them like a pack of dogs. They just got to whistle or sick them on. Like I use a reflecting pool as an example. And also, Trump said, we'll hear it again, where they were paying huge sums of money to journalists to write anything negative about Trump and the Trump administration they could think of. Didn't care what it was. Just as long as it's negative about Trump, you got a big fat check. And you can go to jail over stuff like that. It's called foreign influence, okay? What they try to get General Flynn on, saying he was an agent for a foreign entity? Sparky. All kinds of stuff. So this is the pain part where they're all wondering what the hell is going to happen to me. They have so many methods. Here's one. Newsweek reported on. Democrats are going in wacko mode, crazy mode, anywhere they can get votes. Report Democrats to register voters at World Cup watch parties. I was cogitating on this business of just a cursory look at voter registrations. They found over 250,000 non-citizens registered. And that was out of 4 states. 4 states. They found 250,000, and that we got another 46 to go. So I would venture to say that the number of illegal aliens are in the millions in the voter rolls. And when you have states like Georgia being lost by 11,000 some hundred votes, supposedly lost, then you're talking some serious numbers. But what are the chances there are going to be people who aren't eligible to vote to be signed up, sitting there where they red Solo cup, it fills me up with a bunch of beer in it, and somebody comes, hey, sign this voter registration here. Okay. How many of them you think? But as I was cogitating, and after I listened to Mark Wayne Mullen, yes, I'm still perturbed, but we shall see if he redeems himself. Because also keep in mind, like somebody put in the chats, he had a problem with Trump pardoning the hostages of J and then 6, right? So that's another thing that gives me a problem about him. But anyway, we'll see how. But one thing that I thought about, he said we're going to go through every one of these voter registrations. And it's not that hard, folks. It's not that hard. You can count millions of votes in a day. Normal elections. So yeah, you can inspect these votes that they're talking about. And you get their address. You can see whether or not they're citizens. That's why I put in my thumbnail, registrations equal deportations. Okay? Boy, won't that take a load off of ICE's back. When you can just sit there and say, oh, Pedro registered to vote. He lives on 123 Cherry Street. And he's not we don't have a record of him entering country legally. Oh, wait a minute, he's got an order of deportation. Oh, his license number is what? So they'll be picking him up right and left using their own voter rolls. And, you know, what's the alternative? They got to try to get as many people as possible, or they are going to get blown out these midterms. So they got to make a move. I had a map that showed, where is it? Here it is. We've seen similar maps. States Harris 1 versus voter ID requirement. Well, I know we're talking about registration. I think the map is almost identical for motor voter laws. Anyway, you go to register your vehicle or get your tags for your car, and they automatically register you to vote. That's what a lot of these every one of these blue states did. And it doesn't matter if the person shows up or not. They got the registration. They can, and the name, and they send it out. And whether they got it back or not, they'll say they got it back. And there's the vote. And the person could be totally unaware that a ballot was used in their name. Well, that won't give them an excuse. Let's see. I'm alive. How you doing? I'm going to say I'm a. Nice to meet you. Awaken Trillium, nice to see you. Sherry's here. Let's see. Outlandish, nice to see you. Miss Fenderson, cooking up some food. Roland's going to know what you're making. Ha ha ha. I want to know what you're making too. I'm going to make me some cornbread this weekend with some butter. Ha ha ha. Now that eggs are $2 for 18 for a dozen and a half. So anyway, yeah, Mark Wayne Mullen. Let's see if he pulls a rabbit out of his hat. If he can walk the walk instead of talk the talk. Here he is. Mark Wayne Mullen confirms chilling report showing hordes of non-citizen voters on voter rolls. Homeland Security is demanding answers from 4 states after a preliminary DHS review flagged more than 256,000 possible non-citizen registrants. So I'll tell you, the majority of them came from motor voter. What is this guy's deal? He's retiring. Everybody know who he is? This guy right here? He's pointing his finger at you. What is wrong with Tom Tillis? Notorious GOP senator vows to block SAVE Act with every device at his disposal. He's a Republican. I have yet to hear his reasoning as to why he would block it. And especially so vehemently. So vehemently. He's threatening to jam up the Senate if lawmakers try to move President Donald Trump's election integrity push through Congress before the midterms. I heard Thune and another congressman saying, well, we just don't have the votes. Even if we put it in reconciliation, we've only got 49 votes and we need 51 to get it through. So if you got one more and got 50 and J.D. Vance was a tiebreaker at 51, that's how you get it through. But they say they don't even have 50 Republican votes. So who are we talking about? We know Tom Tillis, irrationally, in my opinion, is vehemently against it. And then Lisa Murkowski, who knows where the hell she is, on it. And Susan Collins, am I right about that? In Maine? Well, Susan Collins is not running against that, what's that guy's name? Graham Plattner? He's gone. And let me find this picture. Is this really the replacement for Graham Plattner? Ashley Webb is candidate to replace Graham Plattner in Maine. Do you believe this person was given the name Ashley? I want you. I need you. I'm just singing the first Meatloaf song that came to mind because that's what I'm thinking when I look at that picture. Meatloaf. Rest in peace, Meatloaf. So it can't be like she's going to have a hard time. That she would feel compelled. Here's a clip of this Ashley person, a.k.a. Meatloaf, saying that it's important to be honest with people. So you're going to be rough. It looks to me like a 25-pound plus male calling yourself Ashley, and then you're going to say it's important to be honest with people? You can't even be honest with yourself.
Ashley Webb, what qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now.
Wouldn't deceive the people. Now, I'm glad they showed a full shot of this mass of humanity. So you know I wasn't exaggerating when I said 225 plus, okay? 225 plus. But anyway, so Susan Collins should make quick work of an opponent like that. It's ridiculous. It seems like it's almost a plant to make it even more ridiculous. Hi, Threads. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Single and looking, in case anybody's wondering that's listening. Available. So anyway, if Susan Collins thinks she's got to be against the SAVE Act so she can win her seat, and that's her main opponent, that's a weak argument. So anyway, I'm thinking there's got to be a method to this madness. And I voiced my concerns about this individual more than once. Let me find him. Is there a scenario coming about where I said a long time ago the left needs a hero? Who remembers me talking about the left needing a hero? Because we want unity in our country. We want somebody to take what used to be called happy warriors, a loyal opposition, and give them a place in this political victory. And this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago I was discussing. I said, what if it's Merrick Garland? Merrick Garland pops up out of the woodwork and says, you know, I was watching all the stuff they were doing and I was documenting it all. Here is all the communications. Here's everything you need wrapped up with a bow tie. And he's a Democrat. He's was part of the Clinton administration, Attorney General. He's the one that tried Timothy McVeigh and put that on the fast track. We know what happened to Timothy McVeigh. I thought, what if he is a patriot that's in a trusted position and could say, you know, they snaked me. They hid information from me, but I found it out. Okay, well, that doesn't look like it's working out. So who would be a hero for the left? I don't know. But I got my doubts about this guy right here. What's the scenario? Let me read this and I'll get into what I'm talking about. Report Senator Fetterman said he'd quit. He would leave. That's when I would leave, Senator John Fetterman said, when he would be forced to leave Democratic Party if the party turns its back on U.S. support for Israel. Well, I don't have an issue with that. People have been watching me know that I'm not into bashing Israel as a source of all our woes, or bashing any group of people for the source of all our woes. That's not why I don't have any issue with him defending Israel. Not a bit of issue. But he has also said the transgenderism was over the hill, and the party's being run by whack jobs, and everybody's saying, "Oh, great, Fetterman's going to become a Republican." And I'm like, wait a minute. He's still a commie. Just because he is not for the most outrageous leftist positions doesn't make him a Republican. And it's a big damn country, and Pennsylvania's a big damn state. He made his own bed and his own bedfellows to get where he's at. He can go down with their ship. Just replace him with a good Republican. Take his Senate seat. Don't just slap an R on his forehead and say, look, we got a new Republican. But I'm afraid that's where it's heading. And you know why I think that way? And it's making my antennas go up. Because we were told the end would not be for everyone, remember? He's pushing the amnesty thing. We're only going to get the worst of the worst, and these poor souls, we're not going to separate families, and we're going to be humane, and we end up with an extra 10, 15 million or more million people in this country because Senator Fetterman gave us the blessing of voting Republican on the SAVE Act. And everybody's going to look at him like he's a hero. When I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, because that's where they're going to take out the mutilization of children in order for it to pass. Remember John Thune saying parts of the SAVE Act could pass through reconciliation? Who's the 50th vote? Are we looking at it? Will he stay a Democrat and be a hero for the dwindling number of normal Democrats in order to foster political comity in the nation? That would be the intention. And to some degree, we do need to keep the best. I said before, some of the immigrants that came here illegally were induced, enticed, and if I was in their shoes, I'd have done the same damn thing. If I had a family to feed and I had some dumb gringo telling me I could get $5,000 a month in food stamps and a free house, I'd have been a damn fool as a father not to try to get my children into that situation. Be serious. Be real. If you were a parent of a child in a third world country, living in squalor, okay, and that opportunity came up and you knew people who had been doing it for years, what kind of parent would you be not to do it? But that only goes so damn far with me. The amnesty crap. So just keep that in your mind, folks. But is that scenario that's going to be played out? I know one scenario that we've been being told about. Trump mentioned it today. I don't know if I have a clip of it or a report on it. But he mentioned a rise in violence by the left. And this is a clip I got of Rubio that I couldn't find the other night. And last night, I believe, where it's worldwide. This is a worldwide communist insurgency, okay? And these European governments are running around these fig leaves of democracy and parliamentarian rule, or whatever they want to say, but they're more and more looking like just your everyday run-of-the-mill Maoist or Stalinist state. So anyway, here's Marco Rubio talking about the rise of radical left violence around the world.
In one 18-month period between 1971 and 1972, the FBI counted some 2,500 bombings on American soil, a rate of nearly 5 a day. The overwhelming share of that violence came from left-wing extremists. Between 1970 and 1980, 93% of terrorist attacks in the West came from the far extremist left. These are numbers that would shock most Americans today because we've been taught to believe that this kind of political violence, it simply doesn't exist or it's being exaggerated. But it does exist, and we're actually underestimating it. And our nations bear the scars to prove it.
All right, this clip focused on what's happening on U.S. soil, but I should have played a clip before I commented, because I did see him mention that violence, especially through Antifa, was in multiple countries around the world. So anyway, my mea culpa. So Trump posted this. Great reviews on the speech last night. Big audience. Passed the Save America Act. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump. I wish he'd have said in its entirety. It made me feel a little more comfortable. I don't know. You know, there's only a handful of people that know the real. What we know exists now. The plan. Okay, there is a plan. We're seeing it unfold before our eyes. So, I'm just looking at, Bush, slavery was not pretty. And, cruelty towards servants is addressed in the Bible. and it's forbidden, but it happens, and slavery was that's the way it was. Okay, the simplistic thinking of leftists. Why didn't they just let them all free? Well, they had nowhere to go. There wasn't McDonald's to go get a job at, or a data center, or an office. There wasn't nothing. We were an agrarian society. It's just like their mentality today. Oh, Mom Dami is so smart. He's just going to give. Why don't they just give people health care? It's a human right. Why don't they just give people food? It's a human right to have food. Well, people in hell want ice water. I always say that all the time. So back in the day, there were black people that owned slaves. It's an incomplete story that's been told. I talked about Thomas Day, okay, from Milton, North Carolina. He was a free black man and a master cabinet maker. And he was running his business as a free person living in a southern state before this country was a country, before the Revolutionary War. And I'd venture to say that he had servants. So it's an incomplete story. It doesn't help for us to tell incomplete stories and bolster this business of every black person came to this country in bondage. It's just simply not a fact. Or every slaveholder was cruel. I'm going to play this clip because I have likened the mentality of communists and socialists, what I refer to as the spirit of Cain. I need to get back to the biblical perspective on what we're going through, what we're witnessing, what we're having the privilege of witnessing. People know the surface story of Cain and Abel, but you do a slight psychological scratch of the surface. You had someone who despised the fact that they had to work, had to go out in the sun and gather wheat, scratch around in the ground to plant seeds, and then have to give, sacrifice the best of what they got to God, to offer that as a sacrifice, not content with the beauty of their life, with the wonder of their life, no respect for the Lord, feeling cheated. And then they look at their brother. The spirit of Cain looks at his brother, who is happy, thankful, content, takes the best of his flock without question or hesitation and offers it to God, and continues to be happy and content and enjoy his life and be appreciative and thankful. What rises in Cain? Jealousy, anger, envy. What did I always say about liberals? They want to make sure nobody's having more fun out of life than they're having. And they're miserable creatures, so it doesn't take much to have more fun out of life than they do. And they try to bring you down to their God-forsaken level. Anyway, with that in mind, and what was his solution to his umbrage. Look that word up. What was Cain's solution to relieve him of his vast and great umbrage? Anyway, here's Stephen Miller. He doesn't bring up the spirit of Cain, but that's what came to my mind.
And the leftist justifies this violence to himself by saying that they alone are the arbiters of what is right or wrong. Not the law, not history, not civilization, not public opinion, and certainly not God. The leftist assumes for himself judge, jury, executioner. But let's not pretend for a moment that these radical leftists, these terrorists, are operating from a place of sincere political conviction. Sure, there are plenty of useful idiots that they use who may believe these discredited ideologies. The leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The leftist looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The leftist looks at a perfect family with a perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet, and they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism. Why is that? Why, if you look at two photographs and you see a normal American street, you see an Antifa protest, why do the people that are violently demonstrating, why is there not one normal-looking person among them? Every one of them, through the course of their life and their decisions, has scarred their body and their appearance in many different ways to the point in which their outer appearance becomes a manifestation of their inner hatred. Trust your instincts. To all people and across all civilizations, you know what normal is. You know what beautiful is. You know what good is. You know that families are right. You know that children are precious and beautiful and must be protected. You know that the criminal and the junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, healthy living. This is so much deeper than issues about taxation and regulation, although they're incredibly important. It's about normal, healthy, ordered living.
Well, yeah, I say it's the spirit of Cain. The entitlement, demander, expector, never happy, give them the moon and the stars. And they'd complain about the sun. See if anybody new came in. Ha ha. Yes, it is a mental disorder. It only takes a moment, Gary, not even 5 minutes, right? Only an instant, if you got your mind right, to connect with God. And true wisdom begins with what? Fear of the Lord. So this attitude and way of life is part of one of the oldest stories in the Bible, from Genesis. It's left me scarred and deformed. Here we go. Speaking of scarred and deformed, Democrats say they are perfectly capable of rigging elections without any help from China. Thank you very much. What do you think we are, pikers? We can handle this. On my thumbnail, you see it on the screen right now. Keep your friends close, right? I know most of you know the rest of that, right? Look at the look on Trump's face. Look at Xi Jinping. He's got that purple royalty tie on, doesn't he? Trump's got a red power tie on. I changed the tone of the picture to make them stand out a little bit more. But keep your friends close, ... We all know the rest of it. And your enemies closer, right? Where's that come from? Where did that become part of the American lexicon? To keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Hi, Rain. How you doing? Man, I had a boomer of a storm come through. In a way, it was good. It sucked all the hot air out of the house. But man, it came out of nowhere. Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. And rain started pouring down. I said, man, I can't broadcast in this. So I opened the door up to take a look out, and I felt that air getting sucked out of the house, you know. And of all things, who shoots out the door in the rain, goes down the steps, and goes in a little hidey hole under the house? Sadie. I better not call her name out. I was like, what, are you crazy? Apparently, it was loud. It was loud stuff. It come out of nowhere. Apparently, she'd rather be under the house than in the house when the starts up goes on. But it went on by, and she shot back in here in the house. So I just called her name out. Hopefully, she won't. But anyway, yeah, I had a big storm come out of nowhere. So I'm looking to see. Bruce said Clint Eastwood. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That is what Michael Corleone told one of his capos that his father told him, the Godfather. And I'm like, oh, what were you told? Godfather 3. Oh, wait a minute. That was in Godfather 2 that was said. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So I'm pretty much settled on what did they mean by references to Godfather 3. Since this saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, is from Godfather 2. I said what I thought the solution to that little puzzle was. See if anybody remembers. Man, I mean, it was one of those things when I opened the door, but it wanted to suck all papers and everything out of the house. My papers and effects. Most people carry everything around their little plastic toy. No papers anymore. I'm not seeing any guesses. But Godfather 3, what I said was the impetus for that post in the 17th letter was, blessed be the peacemaker. He would be called a child of God. That's what I think. So anyway, is there any truth to this? We're going to start seeing some stuff happen, folks. But it can't look like a vendetta. It can't be overwhelmed with conspiracy theories. Senator Amy Klobuchar has been quietly preparing her staff for her exit from politics after a direct link between her, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, and the Somali refugees who stole billions from Medicaid was uncovered. Sources say Klobuchar is expecting that both she and Omar will have to resign, and that there's a distinct possibility of both state and federal charges. Sounds perfectly believable and reasonable to me. The investigation that was started by citizen journalist Nick Shirley has grown into one of the most explosive political scandals in a decade. In a decade? Here you go, folks. Get you a screenshot of that to put it on your Meta page. And boy, won't that be a great day. So anyway, Trump put these two pictures up without a comment. And I haven't expanded them to look at them. It is classified documents that he had released. And if my memory serves me correct, these are the only two that Trump put up by the time I got ready to broadcast. Declassified by President Trump on 3rd of July, 2026. And they blacked out some names, DHI. I think we have two, albeit related things going on here. One, Jeremy 1, the presidential daily briefing, apparently they've worded away from elections. I haven't seen the draft. Blacked out name. But blacked out name's characterization is familiar as to what we heard a couple of weeks ago, and I would be concerned as to why they are, quote, deliberately massaging analysis away from elections. I haven't heard that it is off, but it may be further delayed pending the upcoming releases. 2, that's interesting. He's a number 1, and now he spells out 2. Okay. 2, there is a larger effort by the NSA that they will get all blank reporting needed for the 45-day report into blank for ease of reporting. We have this request into all the agencies. I've asked blank and blank to check in with the regional NOs to see if they are making progress toward the 30th November date on the ICA draft per our email exchange with the DNI. And I guess this is a response. I'm not sure what to make of this. If this is off, why does blank say okay? Page 1. Then the second one he put out, I guess, is a continuation of this. From NSA, USA government, Friday, November 20th, 2020. 2 weeks after the election. Note to election threat, 45-day ICA, China section drafting team. We have deliberately massaged one pending PBD to avoid any direct links to the election. The massive report we have been waiting on has been chopped into 13 reports that likely will not get out until late next week. Many, all of them, will be cross-posted into blank or downgraded to blank so that can be more readily incorporated into the 45-day piece if needed. Strategic Intelligence Analysis, China and North Korea assessments. So, is this a tease where he's letting out stuff that people are going to go, oh my God, if they've got that, they've got other stuff? Oh my God. Clandestine says, regardless of what the Dems, MS media say, the reality is we have the communications proving the intelligence community knowingly withheld valuable intelligence from the president pertaining to Chinese interference as part of the broader plot to remove him from office. This is as big as it gets. This confirms that there are corrupt elements within our government that are acting on behalf of foreign adversaries, seeking to subvert the will of the people for their own nefarious agenda. This proves that Trump was right about everything and justifies the drastic measures we must take to ensure this never happens again. And he included, I guess, what he got from that site that Trump referred everyone to. Good morning, sunshine. Do you have any read-aheads for your something whatever update? I have to leave early to go to the Nakasone prep. Should all be fun. Yep. Let me shoot you an email. Thanks. Do you have a serial for that IRL? Or what was it say? Oh, you mentioned to me last week, RE China? It's recalled. Okay. Talking to Presidential Daily Briefer. That's why I'm asking. She's also asking if there was a revision to the Russia one. There should have been, yes, revision to the source statement, but I haven't seen it. My team's not in yet to confirm, though. Let me check Sentinel. Okay. I looked in our system, but I didn't see it. But system says I used to look up your LLRs is not friendly, so it might be there somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't look like they pushed out a revision yet. For F's sake, she actually puts the word in. Okay, the director has the original in his book this morning, AM. Great. Seriously, we're pushing out a note today to all FOs that election-related whatever must come through FITF headquarters. And here's in a red box. I'm basically running a shadow government across the FBI at this point. So that's the one clandestine included with his assessment, which he went further on to say this. For those who are concerned about how we are going to prosecute all this, Trump has been telling us the entire time. Trump has repeatedly floated the idea of bypassing the corrupt system and trying the criminals via military tribunals. I've said that. We've all said that in the past. Okay. Some are going to be civilly tried, and some are going to be tried in accordance to the laws of armed conflict. And before anyone says that this is not possible, you are incorrect. POTUS has the authority to designate American citizens as unlawful enemy combatants if they are caught collaborating with foreign adversaries, and they can be tried as terrorists via military tribunal. Speedy trials. Trump and his administration, Stephen Miller, have also openly floated suspending habeas corpus and implementing martial law, which can be invoked during, quote, invasions or rebellions. Don't take my word for it. This was Trump's idea, not mine. But I'm here to tell you, he's not joking or trolling. He's dead serious. And he had a little smaller paragraph under there. alluding to, well, here are the posts he put up in support of that. Donald Trump posted these, and I've shown them numerous times. All roads lead to Obama. Read truth if you want public military tribunals. If your justice system has been corrupted, I use this as a thumbnail. How do you bypass the corruption? Military tribunals. This one I just read, I know for a fact, is in the 17th letter. This very photograph, which Trump has put up many different photographs. So before I go, I'll play some of these clips from Trump's address. I'm going to play this one. Trump posted this, and it may be redundant in some of the clips I have. I have about half a dozen. But this is the one Trump himself posted on, and the White House posted too. You see it on the bottom there, White House. And Trump reposted on Truth Social, where the public can go, since the media is censoring the President of the United States, you might as well say. Any Americans got any problems with it can go to where Trump is saying to go. But anyway, let me play this clip and then we'll get into it.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that is the tack that CNN was taking. He's not stopping concerns. He's creating concerns. You know, trying to flip the script, right, folks? Let me see. I'm going to put in my what time is it in the broadcast? I'm putting in my link in the chats at the 1 hour and 3 minute or 4 minute mark. Link in the chats to buy me a coffee if anybody wants to help the channel out. This is a totally viewer-supported channel. I got to get my special effects because I owe people some booms. Let's see. I got one right here. Got pow! Yeah, that's where Gary dropping a big Moab in Buy Me a Coffee. And Miss Minder Sue drops Moab Sue. Got boom. And Pappy Two Bears. Where's my other bomb? There. Kapow. Pappy Two Bears stopped by. Younger gang. Holy cow. Yeah. Boom! So I appreciate it for this week. I really do. Folks, link in the description. I might put my postage stamp. I've been forgetting to put my postage stamp up. My QR code, that's what it's called. There's Miss Render Sue putting them all in there. Coffees and booms, and Tammy's putting in booms. Ha, ha, ha. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. So anyway, yeah, let's get in. Man, I got some of these things here. You know, I put them up, but they're predictable. Todd Blanche. Predictable. From Midas Trash. This is what they put up after Trump's address to the primetime address to the nation that the media censors. This is what these losers at Midas Touch puts up. Exclusive. Midas Touch has learned new details of what really happened inside Todd Blanche's meeting with Epstein survivors today. One survivor noted Blanche was abrasive, condescending, and intentionally non-committal. Here are the full details. Well, anybody with a brain in their head knows that some of these so-called survivors have been referred to as burned out party girls. And some of them may not have been underage, were not underage, and were participating. Okay? Or when they became of age, they became accessories. Rachel Chandler, anybody remember that name? But that's the stuff they focus on, not what we call bombshell. So anyway, I'm going to play. I've got these clips. We'll take them as they come up here. Here's President Trump, because he covered more than just China.
Areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. An
election security nightmare. Now, remember how the lefties were going cuckoo because they said Doge was going to get their information? Most of those people had to be bots or deluded lefties, because where are they raising hell now about China having all their information? Doge was trying to root out fraud and abuse. China's trying to take over our country. Maybe that's what the lefties really want. It sure seems that way.
Even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, All they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say the cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the addition.
Who's that cabinet member Trump fired? Who came up with that saying? The most secure election. And he sued. Did he get back in? No. The most secure election in history. A bold-faced lie. Slow-walked it, hid it, concealed it. Concealed information from the President of the United States and the American people. Aided and abetted, I'll say.
China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America.
A propaganda campaign, illegal psychological warfare campaigns. And they assisted. And that makes them court and clandestine and, in my opinion, unlawful enemy combatants. Because you couple that with the million tourist babies that are living in China right now that are supposedly U.S. citizens, ripe for invasion.
The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials.
He made a point to say the honorable press, which by its very inference means that there is a dishonorable press. And shadow government, how many times have you seen that term used in the 17th letter? And yes, Miss Mendersuit, you brought up what I had discussed about what John Solomon said. Americans are going to wake up Monday morning very happy with what Trump had said. And we were all wondering, if he's given his address on Thursday, why will Americans be happy when they wake up Monday morning? Was it a slip of John Solomon's tongue? Or is something going to happen this weekend? Is something happening right now? We were told the FBI, air quotes, deadline in Georgia was today. Today. Or maybe midnight. The bell will toll. I don't know. It may have been, he may have misspoke. But I don't want to wish my life away, but I am looking forward to Monday. But I will enjoy my weekend in every minute that God gives me. I don't want to wish it away. But Monday has got my antennas up. But anyway, here we go with another clip from Donald J. Trump.
And other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it, made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America.
Yeah, don't forget Mike Lindell was put through years of hell. That could be a song. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, they dropped it like a hot potato. The machines were corrupt. How many videos were taken down? How many people lost their channels by talking about the machines? And what kind of culpability are the censors going to experience? The people, if they were acting on some, quote, authority, real or imagined, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just baking on a cupcake. Bacon's good on anything, isn't it? I want to play a clip before I forget. I'm going to keep going with Donald Trump. Trump is talking about 2020 and China. He's being very focused. And Mark Wayne Mullen was very purposeful in telling the press today. Trump is not talking about undoing what has been done with the elections. He's talking about preventing it from happening again. They're being very focused. But we know that game's been going on before 2020, right? We'll get back to Mr. T in a minute. Hugo Chavez rigged the 2008 U.S. election. Laura Logan has a guest on. Who got elected in 2008? Who was Hugo Chavez? For people that don't know, Hugo Chavez was the predecessor to Maduro in Venezuela. Hugo Chavez is the one who turned that country into a rat hole of socialism. And the 2008 election was Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him?
Dean showed me the evidence that Gary and he had gathered over 3 years of investigation. I was absolutely, like you would be, absolutely floored. And I'm like, well, our foreign enemies are attacking our country and nobody's doing anything about it, right? I thought when this evidence was presented to the public and presented to people on the Hill and presented to the Justice Department and so on, that this would raise a firestorm, that people would go, hey, we're under attack. We've been penetrated from within. We need to take care of this immediately. Instead, nobody did anything. I mean, all of this evidence was turned over to the Trump administration within weeks of when they came into office. And it's only now that they're starting to act. It's all going to be about 2020, and it's not about 2020. That was one election. Like I said, it started in 2008. In fact, Hugo Chavez's head of security, Hugo Chavez turned to his head of security before the 2008 election and famously said, watch me, I'm going to put the first African American in office as president of the United States. And he did. That's how shocking this is.
Goes back to the machines, and who has been for a long time bedfellows with Venezuela is Iran, Cuba, Russia, right? All totalitarian regimes. So anyway, back to Donald J. Trump. We're focused on 2020, China and other bad actors, and we got the goods on them. And we'll be able to tie it all in. But like we've said before, this has to be a pill people can swallow. People can't cinder blocks, okay? And you can't have information overload. You got to go one step at a time.
Significant evidence of fraud has been detected. It has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally,
Michigan, that's where the other 250 plus FBI agents have been dispatched, along with Georgia, and I would venture to say many other sites. We have thousands of agents, not just from the FBI, from different agencies, going through voter rolls. And much of it's public information. These people know that they won't even know they're being looked at. They know that. I know it sounds weird. They know that they don't know whether or not they're being looked at. That's the pain, okay? Here we go again with Donald J. Trump.
Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review of state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC fake news.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. ABC and NBC. CBS broadcasts it, and CBS has been bought out by a conservative group, right? Paramount is going to be getting control of CNN, or they already have control, I believe. Well, it's not been finalized. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. CNN. I used to say pull the plug, but no, we're gonna rehab. We're gonna rehab these news agencies, and we're gonna get rid of these traitorous elements. Yeah, threads, military tribunals spreading all over YouTube. Channels that never talked about it before. Yeah, the ones that did, like me, get taken down. I used to. All right, here we go again.
World country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC fake news have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration.
I'll get to the rest of it in a second. United, not divided. That's what I was saying. We got to find unity. Maybe Tillis is being a hard head to evoke some people who hadn't even considered anything in politics to, to be the whipping boy, to get people riled up and mad. I don't know. Before I play this next clip of Trump, we just to keep the mainstream media in focus. What's this guy's name? Let me play some clips from mainstream media. It's going to get to a point of how the hell can you get up there, because you guys are not the news anymore. Okay? The internet has got so many people reporting. And maybe they're being pushed out in the spotlight to be shown for being either idiots or bald-faced liars. I don't know. What's this character's name? The guy. I forget his name.
The president made some extraordinary allegations. I mean, he said that our election system, our security is catastrophically short. It dangerously exposed to hacking. When you have no trust, there is no greatness, and we can't trust our election systems. But looking through these, we have a lot more to look through. I don't see anything that comes anywhere near making that case. What I see is documents presented that are intended to raise doubts about our security, but nothing that suggests there is actually a security issue with our election.
So he's trying to walk a fine line, trying to walk on top of the fence, not straddle the fence. There are some questions about election security, I guess. Trump didn't make allegations, okay? He laid out facts. He laid out facts, the way things are. Creep, whatever your name is. And yeah, I'm seeing talking about judges in there. And, we probably got 100 federal judges. I had sat down, really done a count, but I know we got at least a dozen that will have to be removed. And one of them is Mercado. And I got to get a video of that. Captain Kirk Khan. But anyway, Mercado, so many that have Frimpong. I didn't do my pop Frimpong. And even Chutkin in D.C., even though she's ran for cover. The ones that persecuted the J6 people. We can run the gamut. They're the dirty dozen, though. I think we should do a list of the dirty dozen, the ones who are the most egregious. Kaplan, he's one of the worst. But anyway, here's this dopey, what's his name? He got fired for telling the truth about Hunter Biden looking at charges. He got fired real quick, but they brought him back. Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter, his judgment is better than the President of the United States as to what we're able to hear. Now, this isn't broadcast airwaves. This is cable, so it's a different story. But the big three, ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all on public airways. And like Trump said, they don't pay a dime. That's going to change. That's going to change. Revoke their license and make them bid for it. Bid for it. But anyway, here's Brian Stelter letting us know that he's protecting our ears from the dirty words of Donald Trump.
He did the same thing as this network, CNN, last night. The newsrooms monitored the speech, evaluated what was actually newsworthy, looked at the documents Trump was declassifying, and then reported on what happened. NBC and ABC both went on the air with special reports to explain that the speech had happened and to summarize what Trump had said, but most importantly, to contextualize it and fact-check it, just as CNN did. Now, Trump was ominously claiming that the networks were part of a plot, but the only real plot here, the only intention is to remain reality-based and truth-based. Trump's election lies led to violence after the 2020 election. So this is a subject that really does warrant extra care and attention by journalists. And frankly, some network executives felt that it would be dangerous to just air Trump's speech live, in full, unedited, without knowing what he was going to say ahead of time. That's where we are in America. And we have been here before. I remember during some of Trump's COVID-19 briefings in 2020,
Yeah, I'm sure you and your tens of viewers appreciate you protecting them. We didn't want to put Trump up uncensored if we didn't know what he was going to say. So we had to inspect his words. Anyway, I still got a clip of Donald Trump, another clip of him. I've got different, what are these? Oh, I put Iran and the Kurds. Let me tell you about that real quick. CENTCOM put out that we're resuming operations tonight. But last night and today, the Republican Guard is hunting depots, weapons depots in Iraq. Iranian forces are reported to be striking munition stockpiles linked to the Kurdish opposition factions in the north, sites Tehran views as staging grounds for infiltration and sabotage should a ground operation begin. The timing is not incidental. When Trump spoke of, quote, other people who do it for us, unquote, we talked about that. Iran read it as confirmation of what it has alleged, that these factions are being positioned as a proxy blade to be drawn the moment the front opens. Tonight's strikes suggest Tehran intends to break that blade before it can be used. So I got some video of these so-called munition sites of the Kurds being bombed by Iraq. Now, if this has got music, I'm going to have to take it out. Let me see. No, it's not music. It looks like they found a stockpile. Here's another angle of it. Let me see if this is the one that had music. That burns me up when they put music in those things. Let me see if it is. Yeah, I understand that both those clips are from northern Iraq. So that might be why CENTCOM is kicking in the high gear of attacks. This is 2 missiles that landed in Jordan. Let me see if this is the one with music. Yeah, I hate that. Where'd it go? I got to cut that music off. Because they get me every time. Every time there's music, even if it's just for a few seconds. Daggone it. There you go. Boom. Here comes the second one. Boom. And that one hit something that blew up. So that's in Jordan. So anyway, I believe the Kurds called in and said, hey, we're getting thumped. We need some help. So that might be what happened. Where's that CENTCOM post? Here it is. Here's where Central Command launched a round of strikes against Iran at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today for the 7th consecutive night. These strikes are designed to continue degrading Iranian military capabilities at the Commander-in-Chief's direction. So let's hope that they do not find any more success in blowing up weapons stockpiles. One thing, before I finish this up with Trump talking about our Chinese interference, here's where I got my picture. Report from foreign media. A new Pew Research Center poll of 42,151 people across 36 countries finds China now viewed more favorably than the U.S. globally. The first time in roughly 20 years of Pew polling this has occurred. I noticed in the chats earlier people saying this affected the world. This has a worldwide effect. And yes, the election cheating has a worldwide effect. But the psychological warfare campaign is having an effect too. More respondents expressed confidence in Xi Jinping. More confidence than Trump. The U.S. leads in favorability in only 6 surveyed countries, including India, Japan, and South Korea. U.S., get a load of this, folks. Hi, Roland. I see you're out there. Roland. We're talking about Canada. U.S. favorability in Canada has dropped from 57% in 2023 to 33% this year, while China's rose from 14% to 44%. Similar shifts were recorded across France, Germany, and the UK. Could it be that the dilution of their culture through mass migration is influencing this also, their polling? Who are they talking to? Who's answering the phone? But anyway, you see that these propaganda campaigns have an effect to the detriment of civilized societies around the world. And isn't it odd that we have these fires in Canada that is causing a huge swath of the United States to suffer from smoggy skies and smoke? 2 days after Trump canceled the USMCA deal pending review by the Department of Treasury and Scott Bessent. I'm not saying nothing except that that's what happened. The chain of events, okay? Anyway, here's another clip from Donald Trump to finish up his little presentation that should be reported, analyzed, and investigated by every news station of good faith, but is being largely ignored. See what that copyright stuff does? It screws up my posts, because now I got to start the video over because the sound is muted. Because somebody who posts a video has got to put some pop song on there. But anyway, they just can't post the damn video. But anyway, here we'll start over again.
I have revealed tonight my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest.
They always say the most important election of our lifetime. Well, that's exactly what we're looking at. And did you hear what he's saying? They're going to be dealing with all these states. Mark Wayne Mullins said today, they can, if they get grant money, to straighten out their elections and secure their elections. But everybody's going to be checked. But special focus will be put on the states that have the illegal voters, that if they discover illegal voters, and also that if they refuse to secure their elections after they've been told in no certain terms that there's vulnerabilities, that they will be prosecuted or fined. They can be fined. They can be removed from office. But it could, depending on the circumstances, he put that qualifier, lead to prison time. That's why I put on my post last night, arrests expected. Okay? So let's see. Like Miss Mindersu said, is Monday morning going to be a special morning when we wake up? I don't know. Let's see what happens this weekend. We're going to keep our ear to the ground, to keep our antennas up. And I got this clip of Trump where he says at the end, God blessing America and others, but he also mentions the U.S. military. And there's my postage stamp for Buy Me a Coffee. Link will be in the chats. And this is what I mentioned last night. Maybe I'm making too much of it. I said, did you notice that he said, God bless our military? Because I think they're going to be involved. I think they're going to be needed. Enjoy this short clip. Listen for that little mention. Link in the chats for Buy Me a Coffee. And what do I always say? I say, thank you for spending your precious time with me. I do appreciate it. And I should be going live. If something big happens, I'll go live, whether I'm scheduled to or not. But if you're subscribed, you'll know when I go live. So you're not subscribed, why don't you do that? And I always forget to ask during the video to give me a thumbs up. It helps the video get around. Or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Let me know something. So anyway, you all have a great and safe weekend. And I hope to be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
That I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you, God bless you. God bless our great military. And God bless America. Thank you very much.